shut the lid. For the first 104 days could comfortably support around 3,800 mice.
Okay, so
it would never come
3,800
close to
mice
that
would be-
number. On day 1, he placed his 8 founders inside and shut the lid. For the first 104 days, almost nothing happened. The mice explored, learned the geography, and worked out who slept where. Then the first litters were born, and the population began to double.
So
every 55.
Obviously, it's going to be perfect in the beginning. Like it's bound to be perfect in the beginning. But I think what I think is that eventually it'll get to a point where like there's not enough space, and then they all just start fighting each other over space.
Twice as many mice as before. By day 315, more than 600 animals were living inside.
Dang.
They climbed over each other on the ramps, slept in piles, and jostled for nesting space at the tops of the apartments. This is the moment everything began to come apart.
Okay, yeah,
in a normal mouse colony, when the population grows past what the territory can absorb, the surplus mice leave. They emigrate. They find new ground somewhere else. Inside Universe 25, there was no new ground. The young males with nowhere to go and no role to fill began drifting into the center of the enclosure. They formed listless pools of bodies. Calhoun would stand above the pen for hours, watching them do nothing. They had no fights to win,
There's no
female.
There's no urges. There's no nothing because everything's already given to them. There's no means for living.
To court, nothing to defend. They were healthy, well-fed, and they had absolutely nothing to do. When one of them was attacked by another mouse, he would not fight back. He would lie there and absorb the damage, then stand up, walk a few feet, and lie down again. But not every male went quiet. A second group formed at the same time, on the opposite end of the spectrum. They were frantic and indiscriminate. They moved through the enclosure faster than any other mice. They forced themselves into nests other males were trying to defend. They skipped the courtship rituals every other mouse still followed. They refused to be deterred even by violence from dominant males. And in the worst pockets of the colony, behaviors began to appear that no functioning mouse society had ever produced.
I'm in high school and I have absolutely no idea what I want to do for my career. That's what I would have said if I never...
The females responded with their own retreat. The ones who could not find a place in the social order climbed to the highest apartments and lived alone. They stopped interacting with males. They stopped reproducing. Calhoun also noticed something he called the behavioral sink. Even when food was equally available everywhere, the mice began crowding compulsively around a few specific feeders. They would not eat alone. The presence of other mice had become so wired into their feeding instinct that an empty feeder, no matter how full, was useless to them. The crowding got worse and worse around a handful of stations while the rest of the enclosure sat almost untouched. Then the mothers who were still trying to raise pups began to fail in a much darker way. Defending a nest in that environment took constant work. The males who had originally claimed territory grew exhausted from patrolling and stopped protecting their families. The mothers had to defend the nest themselves while still nursing. They turned on their own young. They abandoned them in scattered places around the enclosure.
Okay. So what's happening here, which is, okay, this is weird. So perfect in a perfect world, okay, there's literally food everywhere, water everywhere for them. Like, it's limited amount of space, but there's enough space for everybody to live in. What we've seen is that the mice, they won't stay by themselves unless they're like the females who live at the very top by themselves. It's like a lack of motivation to do anything, basically. Like these mice are unmotivated because everything's already given to them. Like there's no reason for them to do anything, right? So then I guess the males first of all, they're supposed to in a regular non-perfect world, right? Just for regular day mice, they are meant to defend and care for the female mouse that it's helping, right? So that she can raise and nurture the kids. But as soon as they are placed into this environment where everything is given to them, they don't even care, and they can just be about because there's no reason for them to do anything.
At all. Others stopped recognizing them as theirs entirely, and in the worst stretches, mothers began eating their own offspring. In some sections of the colony, fewer than 1 in 20 newborn mice survived to weaning. Calhoun would write later that, by this point, the social fabric of the colony was effectively dead. The bodies were still alive. The structure that held them together as a species was not. The pups that did survive were raised by mothers who barely cared whether they lived. They had no model of what a functioning life inside this place looked like. And when they grew up, they behaved like nothing Calhoun had ever seen. The males of this generation never fought. They never tried to mate. They never engaged in any social activity at all. They ate, they slept, and they groomed themselves obsessively. Their fur stayed perfect because they never got into a single fight. They moved through the colony as if no other mouse existed in it. Calhoun named them the beautiful ones. They looked externally like the healthiest mice in the entire colony. They were also, functionally, dead. They never tried to reproduce. They could not socialize. Their nervous systems had developed inside.
This sounds like a lot of people I know, though. That's really weird. There's some people. I have some friends who are just like, man, I don't even want to look or talk to women at all. Like, I'm just gonna take care of myself and just not care about anything else. And they're really to themselves too. Like, I only talk to them because, you know, I knew them from a young age, but then like over time they changed in a weird way, and this is kind of like they kind of remind me of these beautiful
social role was already filled by someone else, and they had simply opted out of the species. On day 560, the population peaked at 2,200 mice. It would never go higher. The last successful conception inside Universe 25 happened on day 920.
So the very last mouse to give birth was on day 920, and then no more mice, none of them gave birth anymore.
After that, no new mice were born. The colony continued to age. The beautiful ones kept grooming themselves. The secluded females stayed in their high apartments. Violence carried.
They didn't have a feeling or need to breed, which in turn, they all just got old and just they all just died of regular old age
with no purpose left to it. And one by one, the mice died of old age with no replacements coming up behind them. On May 23rd, 1973, the last mouse in Universe 25 died 4 years and 10 months after Calhoun shut the lid. He wrote that the mice had died 2 deaths. The first was the death of the spirit. The second was the death of the body. The first one happened years before the second. When his paper came out, the world ran with the obvious reading. Comfort kills. Abundance kills.
It does.
A life with no struggle is a life that destroys itself. The image of the beautiful ones, perfect looking and quietly extinct, became one of the most cited metaphors of the late 20th century. Urbanists pointed to it. Religious leaders. Politicians on every side of every issue. Anyone who wanted to warn about the decay of modern life found something in those mice they could use. But that reading was not what Calhoun actually said. His real conclusion was sitting there in the paper, in his own words. For an animal as complex as a human being, he wrote, a similar collapse was not just possible. It was logical. If the number of individuals capable of filling meaningful roles greatly exceeds the number of roles available, only violence and disruption can follow. The killer wasn't comfort. It was the disappearance of meaningful roles. When the population grew faster than the supply of meaningful roles the colony could offer, the mice with no place stopped functioning.
There were multiple. See, because no one's fighting for food, no one's fighting for mates, because there's multiple. No one's fighting for anything. So then they all just don't feel the need to do anything.
The fighters had no one to fight.
It's not the comfort, it's the lack of roles. That's so interesting.
The mothers were defending nests that no one helped them keep. The young grew up with nothing they were expected to inherit. The structure that gave each individual mouse a reason to participate in the species evaporated. The food never ran out. The water never ran out. What ran out was something nobody had thought to put in the paradise to begin with. Comfort didn't kill them. It just removed the friction that made being alive feel like something. And here is the part almost nobody quotes. Calhoun himself was not a doomer. He spent the rest of his career not predicting the collapse, but trying to prevent it. He kept building new universes. He kept changing the variables. He was looking for the single thing he could put back into a paradise that would let it keep working. He believed it could be done. He believed humans could choose differently than the mice did. He wrote that as physical space contracts, the only way forward is to extend ourselves into conceptual space, into ideas, into networks, into the work of building roles that did not exist before. He called it ideational generativity, a long phrase for a simple idea. The way out is to keep making new reasons to be here. But the experiment is still sitting there in the data. A perfectly designed paradise, 8 mice, 5 years, a complete extinction, and a cause of death no toxicology report would ever be able to name. The mice didn't have a choice. We still do. What happens next is on us.
Okay, that's really interesting. So just to break it down, these mice were given everything. Everything was given to them. Everything. And it's not
8 mice were
like it's not supposed to be like they mentioned how it wasn't the comfort that ruined everything. It was the fact that there was the population exceeded the important rules that were put into place. And it got to a point where children literally, or sorry, the baby mice literally had like a dysfunctional father who wouldn't help the mother, or just wouldn't teach them anything. And then the mother had to fend for herself, and it eventually got to a point where some of the moms didn't even care about the children and even ate them. Like that's just crazy stuff to even look over. But the thing that I'm most curious about is everything is everything is given to them. Everything is given to them on day one, and it takes them 920 days before they all go extinct. But they literally have enough enough rooms to live in, enough food and water, because it's constantly being put in there. So people would think, oh, they'll thrive, they'll work, but they won't, because they aren't working for anything. It's all handed to them. So that's really interesting. That's a good one. The Calhoun effect. Calhoun. That was a good video. I actually really enjoyed that one. Okay, we'll get into our last reaction of the evening, and then I'm gonna make some lobster garlic fried rice. Let's see what we should react to. Why addiction creates success. I mean, I think that would be interesting, right? Going from the Calhoun effect, which was basically having people, or having the mice like not try to not going through anything, or not struggling, right? Because everything was handed to them. How about we do why addiction creates success?
Be honest, you've probably tried to quit.
This one looks interesting. Okay. Be honest. He says, be honest, we shall be honest. Let me get here. Let me make this just more full screen for YouTube. Okay.
Be honest, you've probably tried to quit pornography, watched a bunch of videos, failed, and then tried to convince yourself that, never mind, let's distract myself. While in the back of your head knowing that you should quit pornography. Well, you're right. It is not as important as you think. Ignore all the studies, because it is not the true bottleneck preventing you.
Let's be honest. I think I can say confidently that this like talking about the P stuff, that I can say that that was something that I would, go through, something that I went through, especially like during high school. I did have that addiction, but I think this is an interesting way of hooking us into
from achieving your pornography. Okay. Well, you're right. It is not as important as you think. Ignore all the studies, because it is not the true bottleneck preventing you from achieving your goals, good grade, girlfriend. Instead, confront the real truth. It is a skill deficiency. You are not good enough, and two things can exist. You can succeed and equally be addicted to cocaine, alcohol, deadbeat dad. I am not promoting pornography, but a lot of influencers, creators make problems your priority only because that's the solution they can offer. Those videos are distractions, because if it actually worked, there would be only one video. Just like how there would be only one book about happiness, but there has been infinite amounts of books discussing about how to become happy, and there will be an infinite more coming out, because there is actually not one solution. The only thing preventing you from accomplishing your goals is how much you genuinely want it. It is not resources, because everything on
sorry, I gotta pause right there. It's true. If you really want something, like deep down, if you genuinely want something so bad, you will do anything in your power to get it, right? Ethically, of course. Ethically. Like let's take me and mainstreaming, for example. I have been making content now for about a year. I'll say about a year now. And there's been multiple times where, I've stopped, and then I restarted, and I stopped, and I restarted, and like blah, 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 blah. But I'm still here. I'm still creating content, and maybe it's not the best yet. It's not the best content right now. I'm still putting effort and time into it, and trying to learn ways to better create, better to voice out my voice, better to, you know, make better clips, you know. If you genuinely want something, you can do it, man. No matter who watches this, who sees this, if nobody sees this, doesn't matter. You can do something. And if you genuinely want that thing, you can do it.
Online exists, you can learn everything for free. Time is your enemy, and people think there is an infinite amount of opportunities, but think of a solution, not in the cost of money or effort, but how much time it will cost you. And then you'll realize you can't waste time picking useless battles. Quitting porn is good, it's great for you, but is that the thing holding you back from your goal? And
it's not
truthfully,
necessarily.
a lot of people do not know what they want to do with their life. And the biggest trap is, I want to become an influencer, a rapper, only because there's so much social acclaim that people think the general idea is the right idea, and that's only true if you want to live a mediocre life. Listening to solutions will not solve your problems, because everything is dependent on you. How you learn is dependent on you, and that's something you have to figure out with the information given to you. You compile everything and make your own solution. This is your life, and the first step to figuring out what you want to do is picking 3 things you are naturally good at. This is not an anime where effort and hard work will get you everything you want, because someone will put in the equal amount of effort and hard work, but they will be naturally physically better. In terms of sports, you cannot compete with other people who are more genetically gifted, and equally, they cannot compete with you when you are genetically better than them. Secondly, you have to analyze each market. Where is your current position? Do you have the resources?
Okay. Step 1, he said, there will be some people who are just naturally better at you than something. That's just how the world works. Like in basketball, in mathematics, in streaming, right? Or just in anything in general. There's always someone who's gonna be better at you at something. Don't let that just don't let it mess with you, man.
They cannot compete with you when you are genetically better than them. Secondly, you have to analyze each market. Where is your current position? Do you have the resources to enter an endeavor? These rules will drastically change the amount of options you have available, and luckily, there will be one that shines brighter than everything else. But here's the biggest problem: the mental game.
Okay. Analyze the markets out of the 3 things that you're looking at. Okay, so for me, I guess I would say content, basketball, well, coaching basketball, and entrepreneurship, okay, business. Personally, I want to do content. Currently, I'm doing content, coaching, and school, so entrepreneurship. I could make content. No, my goal is to make content the thing. So I just have to continue putting things out there. I think that's like the best thing I can do for myself, right?
Now that I know what I want to do, I'm not good enough for it. So I'm going to spend a majority of my time learning. And there's the biggest trap people fall into. They never start, but they feel like they've started because they're learning so much about the topic. But just because you read something doesn't mean that you're actively doing something. Like, it's good to research everything about what you're going to do, but if you haven't done it, then you have no experience yet. Like, it took me a whole 2 years before I started streaming, and I was literally like researching everything. I was like, I'm gonna be the best YouTuber, best streamer. I never started streaming yet. So what am I here for saying, oh, I'm going to be the best if I haven't even attempted it yet, right? So research is good, but don't over-research. Start doing the thing. Learn something does not mean you're actually applying the information, meaning you actually have learned nothing. And while you're in this phase of learning, you're trying to prepare everything. This must be perfect. I must get all my habits in together. I must stop watching pornography, and you've entered a complete cycle of getting distracted by thinking you are learning. But here's the biggest truth. Action is the greatest way to learn. And spoiler alert, that one thing you decided to do will slowly evolve into something you could have never even imagined, because when you're learning, it's all about theoreticals, but once you're actually putting things into action, you realize, okay, this is not best for me. I'm going to pivot into gaming videos, and I'm going to pivot into self-improvement videos. I actually like to draw. I'm going to continue drawing. You do not know what you like until you've actually started. The difference is, a lot of people never start, and that gets them stuck in a job they don't want to work in, stuck in a job they actually do not mind. When I was working in fast food, the majority of the 30-year-old plus employees
absolutely not
didn't mind the job. It was actually okay. You know, the pay's okay. It's very comfortable. They have other back safe places where they have family taking care of them, and that's the biggest problem. They didn't want it enough, and because they didn't want it enough, they.
Oh man, if you don't want it, people can tell. If you have everything given to you on a silver platter and then you say, oh man, I want to be the greatest, what are you going to do? Use your resources, but you can't teach drive. Drive has to be within. Like, there has to be something in you one day that you're like, I gotta go. I got to go. Drive isn't handed to you on a silver platter. Drive is within.
Took a passive route. They did not respect time. They thought they had all the opportunities in the world, and then things slowly started to slip out of their hands. They started to get trapped in this hole. They allowed them.
That's why I keep trying to stream every single day, or I keep trying to make clips every single day, because it will slip eventually. What I'm doing is I'm not letting myself slip. I'm not. So you shouldn't either.
Selves to stand in. It's completely fine to not have big aspirations, but once things are too late, do not blame the world for manipulating you in this position. When there's videos like this, there's information telling you everything you want. The question is, are you willing to wait for it? Are you willing to work for it? It's up to you. It's all dependent on you. No one will change anything. No one will help your life. It is all up to you. Like, subscribe, check out my second channel, check out my brand, Zenith Division.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Everything that you want in life is up to you. Everything that you want in life is up to you. One more time. Everything that you want in life is up to you. And whether or not that you will take the first step to do it. You can research as much as you want, but if you're not doing it, then and you're not trying, then it's just an idea. It's just a thought. It's not reality yet. Go for it. Like, there's nothing wrong with trying. There's nothing wrong with trying to do what you want to do. So just try. Good video. I rock with that. Good video. I like that one. All right, man. I streamed to a grand total of no one, but hopefully someone saw this. All right, y'all. See you on the next one.